Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Table of Entrepreneurs. Hey, man, I got another one for you. Listen, I got my brother Arsenio here, November
What
80th.
up?
We're gonna chop it up with y'all, man, today on like the world of production, right? The man got his own production company, doing real big things, connecting with celebrities even, right? And it's been a long journey. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people who you are, what you about.
What it do? What it do? My name is Arsenio Mobley, also known as Viz the Most. I am the owner, founder, and CEO of November 85th, which is uh, a small independent film production company that operates out of Georgia and Florida and pretty much anywhere that's gonna pay me to be there. I don't turn down no money.
Hey, yeah. So listen, hey, as you see, he on the road right now. Of course, he's driving safely and
Yeah.
everything like that. But listen, when I tell you my man will hit the road, he will hit the road if the money is right.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so how you get into the world of videography?
Okay, that's a great question. I spent 18 years doing music.
Hmm.
I went to Full Sail University, and I've got a college degree in audio engineering and recording arts from Full Sail. I did that for a while, working with artists like DMX, Pretty Ricky, Daddy Yankee. Got a chance to meet some of my idols, Brian Leslie, Royce the 5'9". So I got a chance to work with a lot of people. And originally, November 85th started off as a production and engineering company for independent artists. So I offered $100 mixes and mastering services, and I used to also offer services where I would sell ISRC codes, which are digital barcodes for anybody who releases on iTunes or Apple Music or any of those online platforms, the streaming platforms. So I would sell ISRC codes to teach people how to get their own ISRC codes and help them with copyright and things like that. So we originally started off as a predominantly music based company, and I noticed that all of my clients still had the same general issues at the end of the day, and it was how do we get our videos done?
Hmm.
And during that time, I knew some people. I knew of some rental houses. I was very familiar with a lot of people. Some people who had red cameras and $10,000, $30,000 lights and lenses and things like that. And they would rent them out, but those things all still felt like they were just way out of the price range for some of these independent artists. And I
Hmm.
noticed that there was a huge gap in the fact that there was really nobody out there that was trying to cater to the independent market in the sense that saying, okay, we're going to give you an affordable video service that's quality, but because we're giving it to you at an affordable price, this gives you more money to play with for production value, for models, for locations, for things like that. Because a lot of these videographers were, basically hitting you over the head immediately for $2,000, $2,500. And when you're just up and coming, $2,500, you're probably not gonna do another video for another year.
Right.
That's your whole budget.
Yeah.
And by the time you factor in trying to get girls and homeboys to show up and entourages and things like that, and then possibly maybe paying for food if you had the budget for that, that was it. You were tapped out.
Hmm.
So you really didn't have anything. So I ended up through really through no parts of my own. Um, it originally started where I just seen that gap, but really didn't want to get into film. Really, because I knew that it was going to be a rabbit hole that I was going to go down, and it was going to stay that way, and that was all I was going to do, and I wouldn't be able to focus on the music. But however, lo and behold, one day I had to shoot a music video for myself and some other people that were featured on a song, and I called the guy up that I knew that had the rental house, and I said, "Hey, I need this." And I'd had a good rapport with him for years, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll give it to you for for $500. It's you. You know, I'll give you all the stuff you need, $500. And, you know, I was going to just get somebody else to come out and just shoot it, and I was going to take my chance at editing it myself. And didn't even know that this was going to be my first shot at doing this full time. Yeah. Because this guy, unfortunately, left me stranded. He wouldn't send me an invoice. I couldn't pay for the equipment. Basically held up our video. And I said, you know what? I was going to pay this guy $500 a day. The shoot ended up being 2 days, which was crazy. But it ended up being a 2-day shoot. So when I factored that in, I was going to end up paying him $1,000 for this equipment just to rent it. I took $2,000 of my own money, and I went and bought equipment. I bought light, I bought a camera, I bought lenses, and I bought I rocked the same camera and stabilizer I was going to rent from him. So that eliminated all that other issues. I was able to do more videos, and then it was indeed a rabbit hole. I just went down that hole and never looked back. But it's been more lucrative for me than anything else I've ever done.
So I'm curious with that, right? Because like you said, you started off with an initial plan to do something completely different. And then like the opportunity presented itself actually due to a drawback for you. And somehow you were able to turn that drawback into a way for you to make money.
Yes.
Hey, so listen, for all y'all out there that's watching this channel, man, I've been telling y'all for the longest, and now you have it firsthand. Like, you could turn things that are not meant to be into something great, right? It's just really based off of how you think about things, the way you work in your mind, and if you really have that desire to reach to that next level. I mean, and you know, I don't know, you know, if you want to share this, but you know, for a while he was employed, right? You know, kind of doing his own business on the side, and then here recently, full time, and hasn't looked back and been busy ever since, right? I know recently, didn't you just who do you just do a video with recently, a video shoot?
So I recently did a documentary with Big Boy and Killer Mike in Atlanta. So that was that was the most recent celebrities that I worked with. That was just a couple months ago. That was back in February. Yeah. And so that documentary ended up having 3 celebrities involved in it, and it's being pitched to Netflix as we speak.
So what future plans do you see yourself doing with November 85th?
Wow, that is a great question. So November 85th, my 5-year plan is to find myself in some kind of award ceremony, whether it's Oscars, Emmys, whatever it be. The company as a whole, I would like to get to that point where it kind of just runs on its own, and I can hire some people and just run it on its own. And really, you just, if you want to utilize me, then it's just something that you wanted as a whole. But the company should be able to run fully without me. Yeah. That'll be one of my goals. But however, I want to make great films. I want people to either, if it's a comedy, I want them to laugh. If it's a drama, I want them to cry. I want them to feel something. If it's a horror, I want them to be scared. I want to bring something to the table that will continue to last and stand the test of time. Like many of our black films from the 90s. Yeah. You know, our Don't Be a Menace, our Boys in the Hood, Friday. You know, we have a lot of great. We have Above the Rim. White Man Can't Jump. I can think of many that I can go back now and look at it like, man, that was excellent directing. Like, man, this still looks great. I want that 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line.
Big plans.
Yeah. Oh, big plans. You can't go half-stepping.
Let me ask you a question then, right? You know, and I ask every entrepreneur that I get on the channel the same question, man. Like, have you faced any adversities up until this point in your career with your business? And then how did you overcome those? And why didn't those adversities cause you to just give up?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to face adversity. You're going to have broke days.
Mm.
You're gonna have very lucrative rich days. You know, those things are gonna happen. However, but when it comes down to adversities, the ones that I can say that I've faced the most come from people who don't want you to succeed. I have learned that has been one of the biggest issues that plague people of color.
Yeah.
Just don't want you to succeed. You have people who feel as if, like, okay, great example. I do film. I didn't go to college for film. I went to college for audio. I did audio very well, and I still do audio very well. However, I do this very well. But then you'll have someone who's done this longer than me who feels as if I shouldn't be doing this because I don't know what they do.
Mm.
I don't know how much they know. Or I may know just as much, but I haven't been doing it as long. And they start to take that and they'll start to hope and say, oh, no, don't work with November 85th because I've been doing this 10 years longer than he has.
Yeah.
Or I've got such and such camera. I've got such and such lenses, when really that doesn't even matter by the end of the day. Yes, gear is important, and I've spent a lot of money on gear to bring myself to a very respectable point in my career. But at the end of the day, I want to respect the next person, and those are going to be the adversities that you're going to get.
Mm.
You need to learn how to maneuver through those. Those people are going to always be there, and don't look at them as competition. Don't look at them. They're not your competition. You find your own lane, and your only competition is yourself. Mm. That is how I learned how to get through it. There is no competition but yourself.
Yeah.
Forget who did it 15 years before you. Forget who did it 5 years after you. They are not your competition. Forget how this person edits and that person edits. You do your edit, because the better you are at what you do, people are going to come to you for what you do.
Yeah, man, you dropping bars. No pun intended, because you are a rapper.
Yeah.
Hey, but when it comes to prices, right? How do you develop your prices for what you're going to charge, per session, right? Whether that's 30 minutes or hour, or, maybe even a quick YouTube introduction. You know what I mean? How do you come up with your prices?
Yeah. A lot of that plays a factor in. I found myself for so many years undercutting myself in comparison to the industry, right?
Yeah.
But I always realized that I've always had this love and this passion to cater to the working man.
Yeah.
To cater to the person who can't afford the heavy prices. So I was never heavy when it came down to whatever I charged. But general consensus in the industry is you take whatever your equipment is, and you should be charging 10% of what that is, right? But I mean, when you stop and think about it, I got a $4,000 camera. I'm looking at $400 immediately before I start factoring in lenses, lights, other accessories, and all that stuff. Now I'm no longer at my price point that I want to be for the working man.
Yeah. So
then when I determine my prices, what do I want to make for the day? Right. What do I want to make for the day? I worked a 9 to 5, and I was making $19 an hour, which some people would consider to be a good job. Oh my God, I made $19. I make $19 an hour. By the time you equivalent that to what it is for a year, it's like $33,000.
Okay.
There's no money. I want to make more than what I was going to make at work. That's how I do. So if I factor in that I got to give Uncle Sam a part of my money, and I'm doing $19 an hour at a job, and by the end of the day, I'm coming back for like $100. That makes no sense. So generally, my prices usually start anywhere between $150 and up. I want to make more than what I would make working for someone.
Yeah, and I want to touch bases on that too, right? Because you brought up a bunch of good points, right? And this is for a lot of you entrepreneurs out there to understand. Like, a lot of times getting into the business, we do that. We undercut ourselves as far as what our value is. And you can't be afraid, like he's saying, you can't be afraid to set a price, and then that's your price, right? Because at the end of the day, I will tell you something that a lot of people need to understand when it comes to business. when you set a price and then you begin to fluctuate your price and you're uncertain with that, your customers are also uncertain with you, right? So when you set a price, set your price, right? And let that be what it is. Now, what equipment, like, did you evolve your equipment over time, or, you know, what you started with is what you got, or did you just go big from the jump?
I did. No, I did. And ironically, I moved extremely fast when it came down to that. That is what I will say advantage to actually being around people who had rental houses and expensive equipment and things like that. I soaked up information like a sponge. So because I already knew what high-end cameras were, and I knew that I was only going to stay at that consumer and prosumer level for ever so long.
Yeah.
Because I knew what I wanted to get to. Didn't mean I wanted to run a rental house. By no means do I want to run a rental house. But I want the equipment that's going to say, I don't have to worry about going to the next person. I don't want to have to go to a rental house. So my equipment has evolved. I started off with a Sony a6300 with a Ronin M. All right, so the camera was the a6300. I grabbed a Sony 50mm lens with a Ronin stabilizer, and then I grabbed the 2016 MacBook Pro with Final Cut Pro for my software. From that point, I've owned 4 cinema cameras. I own 7 or 8 different cinema lenses. I have about $4,000 or $5,000 worth of light. I've got 3 computers now. And I got an iMac. I've got the M1 MacBook Pro. I've got another MacBook Pro for travels, just for writing scripts. Wow, I lose track. I've got director's monitors, follow focuses, wireless video transmitters and receivers, lavs. I've got audio field recorders and $1,000 boom mics. And it's going from just I was shooting music videos and now I'm on movie set.
Yeah. See, I think that's something that's important for everybody to understand, right? Be ready when the opportunity comes. We talked about this in another show. Sometimes, like, we make these plans to get ourselves on a certain path, and then something bigger comes along, right? And the question will be, will you be ready to jump and move with the train, or are you gonna get left behind, right? Now, what were some of your fears going into the videography phase, and like, what made you choose, like, yep, this is what I'm doing now moving forward?
Wow, great question. I'm typically not a fearful person, but one of the things that probably was a huge concern for me going into this was I gonna make my money back?
Yeah, I think that's every one of us right now.
It's never about the money for me. Like, what I do, like, when I decide it's a passion for me, like, it's never really about the money. But at the end of the day, I don't want to throw money into something and then I still have to work a 9 to 5 in order to keep throwing money into it.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a hobby. Whatever I'm gonna do has got to sustain me. So it was about, what can I do? Can this make money? Can this make me my money back? If I spend $2,000 on gear, when am I gonna make my $2,000 back? And it was just one of those things that somehow, ironically, I made my money back right away. So whatever I spent that first year I did it, I made my money back that first year. And then I was even considering that I had a lot of slow time. I was considering that I was shooting free music videos. I was considering that I was doing $200 music videos instead of $450 and things like that. Like, I was really undercutting myself at the time, and I still made my money back.
Workflow.
So that was yes, and that was a big big concern for me was will I make my money?
Yeah.
And it proved itself. I didn't even have to do very much. It did it for itself.
Yeah, and you kind of talked about something a little bit earlier where you said like you surrounded yourself in an environment of people of where you wanted to see yourself at in the future, right? And I think for a lot of the entrepreneurs that are watching the show right now, that's something that y'all should really hone into and take down, right? I once heard this phrase that says, if you're in a room, right, or you surround yourself around 5 millionaires, you'll be the sixth, right? So surround yourself with people that can mentor you. Surround yourself with people that can enhance you, not people that's only going to try to pull you back and draw you down, right? Because like you said, that's a bunch of haters out there in the world. It's a bunch of people that want to sweep you right from underneath your feet, and I don't mean in a good way, right? They want to stifle you. And a lot of times what I realize, and correct me if I'm wrong, bro, but a lot of times what I realize is that people try to shut you down because they're afraid of your potential, of what you actually have to offer to the table.
They are. And it took me quite a while to just quite realize that in life, because it was one of those things that's like, man, why do they got to be so tough on me, or why do they have to say these things? Or why? A lot of times it's not that you get down on yourself. A lot of times you start to overthink it. But the truth of it really is they see something in you that is a threat to what they want to do. And there are people that are gonna, if you're good at dancing and somebody wants to dance, they're gonna make you feel bad because you're good at dancing.
Yeah.
They're gonna say things to you that's gonna make you not want to dance.
Yeah.
So in this sense, when you're good at something, that is your potential shining, and they see that and they don't want it to come out.
Yeah.
Because it's only gonna put a shade on what they've got going on or what they want to do with their lives, that a lot of times they're not mentally ready to even have anyway. You know, it's people will hate the person who does all the work to get somewhere, and they're wasting their time because they're hating so much, but they'll never do the work that person just did. But you're saying you want the same thing out that person wants. How do you want it and you're not actually going out to get it?
Yeah.
And you're mad at the person who goes out and gets it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, you know, again, on phrases, right? I'm really big on reading and understanding like the concept of human thought. So really what you got to understand is, like you were talking about earlier, there's people in the business, there's people in the game of what you do that's been doing this like far beyond what you've been doing, right? Maybe have far greater experience. But what I want y'all to understand, because as you see, he rocking a November 5th t-shirt, November 85th on his window, right? He full into it. So you have to be willing to outwork anybody around you, right? But always still keeping yourself as your biggest competitor, right? Because you can compare yourself to somebody and outwork them, and that may still not be your full potential, right? So I would say grind until you get there, right? And when you get there, start to grind over, right? Always be an eternal student and never give up. And another thing I want to drop on y'all right quick is that a lot of times your competitors will either one of two things. They want to buy you out or knock you off. And very few times they'll want to work with you, right? So they'll buy you out, knock you off, and very few times want to work with you. So with that being said, bro, what advice would you give to new entrepreneurs or, you know, younger entrepreneurs that are getting into the game of videography or photography or even music? What would be something you would tell them to help inspire them to get them to the next level?
Okay. First thing is you learn who you are. Now, that's not saying with one of those coming of age types of things like, oh, you learn the person that you are. No, you just learn who you are in your art, right? Who you are in your art is going to shine, right? We've got videographers and editors like Cole Bennett, also known as Lyrical Lemonade, right? That the effects he does 9 times out of 10 don't make any sense. They're quirky. They're all over the place. But Cole Bennett created a platform just being him. He said it. I can spend a lot of time trying to get into film, or I can spend some time trying to learn how to just do some crazy stuff and just master all the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then I have something that I can bring to the table. And now all the crazy effects he does are being copied and mimicked.
Yeah.
And so what I say to people that are coming into it, new videographers, learn you. If it takes you to watch the music videos that you like, watch those and study those. If it takes you to watch the movies that you like, if you want to get into film, watch those movies and learn those movies. But at the end of the day, after learning you and your art, learn everything you can. Don't rely on the next man for everything.
Right.
That is how you find yourself stifled for longer than you want to be. Because in this industry, the circles are so small and everybody knows everybody. And some people have people that they only want to work with. So if you're spending all your time saying, oh, I can't get my script written, you need to spend a day or 2 or 3 days, 4 days, a week, 2 weeks. You need to learn how to write scripts.
Yeah.
If you want a script written and you don't know how to write script, and you don't know how script formatting looks and what programs to use, you're selling yourself short. If you want the perfect example, you want the Spike Lee Dolly look where where everything's sliding, and you don't know how to get it, you need to learn how to get it. You need to learn what it took for him to get that shot if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't rely on somebody else to tell you anything. Because that was what stifled a lot of people. And thank God that was never one of the things for me. Like, I started off doing music. But when I did music, I didn't have people making beats for me. So I learned how to make beats. I didn't have people who could record me. So I started my own recording studio. Bought my own equipment. Then went to school. Then worked in recording studios while I still owned my own. At the end of the day, if I wanted to go into the booth and do a song, I had the beat ready. I had the software. I had the microphone, the interface, the computer. I had the booth. I could go in there and record and put out a record tomorrow if I wanted to. I had no drawbacks, no holdups.
Self-sustaining.
Yes, self-sustaining. So if you can get self-sustaining, you are more of an asset to anybody.
Wow.
You want to be an asset. That is what you want to be as a young videographer coming up. You want to be an asset. You want to offer something. Like even right now, I got hired to be a digital image technician for a film that is to be just that. Anybody who knows what that is or doesn't know what that is, it's a glorified hard drive guy. All I'm doing is taking the footage, dumping it onto a hard drive, taking screenshots for the cast and crew to have little pictures, and that's it. I'm a glorified hard drive guy. I got hired for that role, but because of my knowledge and because this person has worked with me in the past and this person knew that I was responsible and knew that I knew my stuff, I got hired as the assistant director for that same job right after they let somebody else go.
Look at that.
So now, I not only have the DIP job that I'm getting credit for, but now I'm the assistant director.
Yeah.
I am the second highest credit on the film.
Hard work.
And I wouldn't have been able to be that had I not had that knowledge and had I not been self-sustaining. Even the director told me, he says, I respect you and I know you can do the job because you have November 85th.
Yeah.
You run November 85th. You are already the director. You're already the assistant director. You're already the audio guy, the colorist, the editor. You already know all these things that are important to this film.
Yeah.
So I want to bring you on because you know this stuff. You know scheduling. You know keeping things on time. That's it. Be self-sustaining in this industry.
Yeah, that's money right there, man. And I'm hoping every last one of y'all grabs that. And, before we go ahead and close out today, bro, go ahead and share with people how they can contact you through social media, maybe, whatever other source that they can reach out to you if they got any questions or want to do business with you.
Definitely. So it is my TikTok, my Twitter, my Instagram, All of those are at November 85th. November 85th. All one word. You can go to November85th.com. There's a booking area. As a matter of fact, so a little bit of shameless plug, you can buy you a November 85th hoodie and shirt from the website.
Cop the merch.
So, yes, we do have the merch now. It's been requested so much that we had to get the merch.
Yeah.
And right now we've only got one color, but soon we're gonna have all the colorways on there from the different sports teams and things like that. You'll be able to rock you a November 85th hoodie or shirt. And so November85th.com, November 85th at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is, of course, is November 85th.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, bro. Greatly appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, you headed to another engagement right now. Busy man.
Man. I got to shoot tomorrow. I got to shoot early in the morning, 7 in the morning. As a matter of fact, this whole weekend's crazy.
Hey,
we're in Friday,
man.
Yeah, man. You got to make it.
Hey, so listen, I appreciate you guys for stopping by here at Table of Entrepreneurs. And as you see, man, we're going to be bringing you nothing but great content with great entrepreneurs who jumped in the world of business who are going to be sharing their knowledge with you. So please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends and your family, man. And I'll see you again in the next video.